Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com, and welcome to today's recap. It is Tuesday, and pretty much got a day which a lot of people wanted. What did we want? We wanted a digestion day. You know, we saw a really big move from Friday into Monday. Traders that were caught a little short, you know, I don't know, maybe you used today's opportunity to, to cover some and work your way out of it, or maybe you said, you know what, now I'm going to load in more here because this is your first rest day, could lead to more, or, if you were waiting for some type of digestion, let the moving averages catch up now, we're trying to figure out if we could then buy it through certain price points. So I think either way, today was one of those days where, you could have made a little bit of money, and hopefully it helps build more constructive patterns to give us more confidence to trade through pivots or price points. So if you go to the chart of the spiders, okay, I pretty much drew this yesterday. Remember, we talked about, the potential of this W, okay, where this was the first low, okay, and then you had that little breakout failure the day that the Fed didn't raise rates, okay, then you had another higher low on the W, okay, crossed this pivot, came all the way back into resistance. You can almost draw a line here, and then you could, I guess, draw another line there. Okay, so the question was, how would we digest yesterday's move? Can we hold the gap, which would be very constructive, which would mean the market's going to, not wait for anyone and stay in here and trap some shorts that didn't cover today, and then potentially get above this 199 and go? Or do we trade into this gap and come in a little bit, shake the tree, and test some of the lower moving averages? Well, right now, you still have this unopened gap, so it's showing you that the bulls right now are in control. They took back control ever since this red dog reversal here, and remember this little doji red dog reversal here. That doji one came in around 187.64. If you're still long from there, congratulations, great swing trade for you. If you missed that one and took the one on Friday, you could have got long here or went across this pivot. And now here we are digesting in front of what could be, real resistance. So with that being said, I know some guys made some money short. You had a little red dog reversal here. Some guys on Twitter were asking me, is this a red dog reversal? And, we did trade above 198.74, came back below it, okay, after hitting 198.98. So that was, what was that, 24 cents or so? And we closed 197.80. So you could have made $1 with 25 cents risk. Not a bad trade, to add to your month if you were just day trading, looking for some type of, setup. And then if you're still short a portion, saying, oh, we had a little red dog reversal here, kind of like we had a red dog reversal here, and then, you're looking for some follow through to the downside. So, we'll see what happens. No one truly knows what's going to happen in here. All I know is that, I would love to see, another session or two where the moving averages curl up, we touch them and hold, do like another, I drew this yesterday, another, maybe they even shake the tree a little bit lower, another inside day like that, and then I think, some of us will be excited to buy above this versus thinking we were chasing. But again, I'm just trying to think ahead about what could happen tomorrow. We could open up above, what's it called, this high, and if you didn't cover some today, you have to chase again, and if you didn't buy today a little bit, you're going to feel like you're paying up, so we shall see. Across the landscape, you had, obviously, early on, you had the ILMN pre-announcement and talked in the morning call about, let's see if there is a 15 to 30 minute low, and maybe it's priced in and you could buy off that and, and make some money day trading. So let's go to ILMN first. And, you had a big move off the lows. Hey, what a coinky dink. Go back to the morning call and you could listen to what we spoke about. You go to the 5-minute chart, okay, to figure out how you could have played it. Okay, basically, here is the first low. Okay, I put a low in very quickly, okay, which was right in here, which the low was 130. Okay, once it cleared this opening range pivot, this could have been your buy right around 135, stop at the low, and you could have turned off your computer for the day and made yourself a nice 11 points. Or you could have said, okay, I'm going to wait for the first move, okay, up, and then see, what type of pullback it has. Here it held higher. This was actually my little trade. I did a trade right here, and I traded it into this little spot. It was good for like $3-4. So you could have been a buyer here, say I'm going to put a stop in there, and then left for the day. And from 140, you could have made $6, $7. So all in all, everyone was all concerned about it, but if you weren't in it, it was a decent trade. If you just used your opening range, bought right here, put a stop at the below, and then it trended up for the day. The IBB was a little tougher even. We talked about certain levels in the IBB. Okay, first level we talked about if it was going to be any good, it was going to hold this level. Okay, this was your, what was it, 305-ish, which it didn't. Okay, some people might have shorted it there. And then we talked about this 298-ish level. Okay, another bear flag. Okay, and then it broke below, and then continued down. right there, it looked like death. It looked like it was all done. Here's 12 o'clock. I remember going to lunch, and I played a little bit of this. Unfortunately, I should have just put a stop in myself. But anyway, right here, you had your first igniting move. Okay, from 292 to almost 298, came back, put in a higher low. So if you were looking to play a bounce that was calculated, because you could have done it here and got stopped out. You could have done it here and got stopped out. But if you said, okay, I'm going to try it again, you could have bought it here with a stop at the low of the day, and then it pretty much crawled up almost 9 points back towards, I guess, the somewhat middle end of the range here. So either way, there was things to do there. Okay, now, it still looks a bit battered and not, in one of the more vulnerable sectors, but I guess you could say it did hold, stop some people out there, and it's above the August lows, but we shall see. If you sold when it did this little red dog reversal 2 days ago, when it pushed through 316 and then failed, that was a good little trade of yours for the week. And who knows, maybe you got short, said, you know what, this came from 285, I'm going to short. It came into this 323 resistance that Red Dog talked about, failed at the 21-day, and then you had a nice short for yourself. So now we got to see what happens from here. Lots of two-way action in the bios. The Qs were a bit weaker today. They actually came into the gap and came back above it. So pretty constructive from this little red dog reversal here and the power taking out the middle to a sideways move right below the 200-day. It's pretty decent. So now we'll see how many days this can go on for, and then if we get some strength back and it takes back the 200-day, that could be helpful. So as far as the Qs are concerned, still below all the moving averages, but if it could, like tomorrow, okay, people are like, I follow you on Twitter. What does your language mean? I'm in Redler All Access. How do you come up with your terminology? Because you have Red Dog isms, which is true. So I would basically say, just say like the futures are down small and the Qs are down 30 cents. So I would say, okay, in the Qs, okay, go back to the chart. I would say the Qs went into the gap briefly below 104.55, giving us a new pivot to trade against, which was 104.18. It's a little bit above that. See if this pivot holds, or does it close below, or do the same thing as the prior day to build an upper flag for what could be a move above resistance in coming sessions, which stands around 105.60. So that would be my terminology about the Qs as it tries to build an upper level consolidation. Okay, I would also say if a move below 104.18 and close below, starts to brings back some choppiness versus pent-up momentum. Anyway, now I go to XLF. XLF, pretty inside day there. Top end of the range looked pretty tight there. So if depending on tomorrow, if we were like flattish, I would say, XLF held the majority of the two-day move better than some other sectors. If it can get above 23, 21, perhaps there's a move to bigger resistance, which is around 23.75. If that's the case, look to your Goldman Sachs, which had an inside day, okay, which perhaps, if it reclaims the 21-day, you could see another move to the upper end of the range. Let's see what JP Morgan looks like. JP Morgan also battered and bruised. This one actually was nudging higher even while the market was a little bit weaker. This had a nice little red dog reversal here, two-day move, held, started being, not even waiting almost that it really wants to get up here. So, that'll be interesting for tomorrow. As far as tech, Google had a huge move. Amazon had a good move, a good move too since Friday. Talked about yesterday's pivot high to perhaps use as a red dog reversal. Maybe we trade above it and then squeeze everyone and then come back below it. And if you were looking for a cute short, that could be your strategy, but make sure you take some off the table because these are the strongest names. So if you're trying to be cute and going against the trend, you want to make sure you book the trade. So if you look at Google, pushed above the prior high here, okay, and held in pretty well, okay, and you still have this basic downtrend here, so holding in very well. But if you go to the 5-minute chart, you'll see how the trade panned out. You could have made good money if you took it. Okay, the prior high was right here. Okay, right there. So this was the prior high. So Google pushed above the prior high, which was just say 572, went as high as 577. Then once it got back below it, you could have been short at 672 with a stop at 677. So that's a $5 stop. I know that's a lot, but the stock just went like 40 bucks. And then from here, came back down. Some might have even added when it went red. And then right around here, I think I tweeted saying, if you shorted, Google with the red dog reversal strategy, I would at least, take half off, which was $7, $8. And then it floated back up, and now it still looks constructive versus negative. But the daily pivot here was this. Okay, that again was 673, went as high as 678, so 5 points, and it did hit as low as 663. So $10 below that pivot. And now coming into it tomorrow, futures are flat. I'll say, okay, Google did a good job digesting the recent move, letting the moving averages catch up. It would be constructive to hold 660 area, and if it does, next time the market wants to go, see if it breaks this descending channel ahead of earnings. So that's how I would word it. Go the same thing with Amazon. Amazon gave you an even better red dog reversal today. What would be the red dog pivot? The pivot would be 545.91. Why is that the pivot? This is the prior high. Amazon just came from 500 to 545, 45 points. So figured if you wanted a cute short, pushes above it, which it did, went as high as 551, $6 higher, and then it went as low as 533. So that was about $12 that you could have figured out how to make within that trade. So you go to the 5-minute chart to see how you could have participated there. You go to the 5-minute chart. Here was the pivot high where I just drew. Okay, so what happens? Why is this such a great strategy? Because anyone who was, short versus yesterday's high around 545 probably got squeezed out here. Anyone thinking, well, we're going to break out, we're going to home run territory prior to earnings, got long and chased it. And then all of a sudden you had this upper flag, okay, and then it broke below it. So then once it got below this 545, if you were waiting and that was your short and that's what you wanted to do, that's your short versus the highs at $6. I know sometimes it's painful. Maybe you even got short here versus the highs and waited for that. Or maybe you got short in here saying, look at that wide range 5-minute bar. I'm going to get short, and let it take back half. But then that would have been tight, and it never did. This was your spot. Some might have even added once it went red and never reclaimed it. And then from there, boom, it trended all the way down to 532. So squeezed everyone above a prior high, baited some people in, came back below. This is your short versus the high, calculated, you know your risk, and then that was your short move. And then hopefully you covered some, and now tomorrow we'll figure out if, what's next year. Amazon typically is a better long than short. For today, it was a cute one. So, for my language for tomorrow for Amazon, if it just say down a little bit, I'll say Amazon did a red dog reversal yesterday, putting a low in at 533. That's your pivot. If it trades below and holds the moving averages, see if it comes back up to build an upper level flag for what then could be a healthier breakout at some point as we get closer to earnings. So that would be my language there for Amazon. So, again, just trying to have you familiarize yourself with the red dog isms, because if you watch the morning call and you watch the recap, and then you also, if you buy my Redler All Access Note, which I believe is, a very low barrier product where you get 20 to 25 names that I talk about on my game plan with levels, etc. I think that it's a good complement to all of this because it's on paper, you could print it, it's right in front of you. So anyway, that's what I would think of there. I came along Netflix, and Netflix went green and then failed a little bit, so I got out of it when it went red. Actually tweeted, said I'm out of it, push up, I don't really, it looks a little weak. Maybe there was some news ad on it which helped with that. So at this point it did save itself. So now this is Netflix. Netflix still looks pretty good, but they, push the envelope. So my wording tomorrow would be Netflix, tried to go green, didn't have enough power, came in, shook up to some longs, but put a low in at 105.64. Trade versus that if you're trying to be long, and then with a little time, next time it tries to get it up above 112.25, maybe if the market's better, it acts better. But this would be your support. Touch the moving averages, and it's come a long way. Why not? Let's see what Facebook did today. Facebook was a little bit weaker after a big move. So Facebook, this was key support, and then it held higher, triggered above this area. Now, I would say Facebook took the day off but held above the moving averages. If you're long, perhaps be long versus 92.34. If it opens below it, I would say, Facebook took the day off, opening below yesterday's low of 92.34. See if it gets reclaimed. If it gets reclaimed, perhaps it could build a nice upper level flag in order to consolidate the previous move for then perhaps more upside if the market wants it and if the market wants leaders. Apple's been trading in its own little world. It's just every now and then you'll see a divergence intraday and give you a clue what it might want to do next. At this point, it's coming back up to the 21-day. Still, held support going sideways. It's just not where the action is. You get little trades here and there, but it definitely weaker than stronger or just out of play. So not much to go in there. Oil was the big winner today. Oil I talked about every single time in my morning call. I give a play-by-play, or at least I chart it. Talked the first time about how you had this day one big move up to the highs here, which you could draw across. And then Goldman Sachs came out and said $20 a barrel somewhere in here. And what happened? This 14.20 held, and now we're coming right up to this spot. My humble opinion, I think it could take this out. And if it takes it out, you do have another move a little bit more towards the moving averages. If you look at the dollar, you look at the UUP, this is going to have to help it. You have this, big wall of resistance here, and then you also have this ascending channel. Looks like it's trying to break below it. If the dollar were to break below this, commodities probably go, and that would help oil. XLE also talked about the mid-level, actually not just the potency of Friday, and here was your potent move. Didn't even think about testing this gap. Gave you another move above this resistance, and we'll see what's next here. I put the chart up this morning, so go look at that. All in all, though, nice 3-day move in the XLE. If you took it, I started putting earlier in the week or even last week CVX on the morning note to say watch this. When the market came back and tested the August 24th lows, CVX didn't think about it, and then it tried to get going here, and now look where it is, into bigger resistance. So, on day 1, 2, 3, you trim and trail. If you have a little left over, did close okay. I wouldn't be starting a new one here. But all in all, look how this did not come down to the lows. So with that being said, that means there's buy interest, and then boom, once the market rallies. And there's been a little alpha there in some of the oil names. So in closing, first rest day, there were definitely spots stronger than others. Bios were weaker, oil names stronger, banks, held in there. Some tech was stronger than others. Some gave you a small red dog reversal for a short. Others hopefully looking to perhaps buy the dip. Oh, Twitter. When I came in long, it gave you a push above the prior high and didn't get anywhere. I actually got stopped out of my remainder, but it did hold this 2-day range. So we'll see if it develops another little flag here, because it did take out a little bit of this congestion. And if that's the case, maybe we get more action. So it's on the radar fit. Also, just I've been cheating a little bit, trying to get it to the long side, ahead of taking out this little spot, and didn't happen. Made a little bit of money these days, and then I got stopped out once it went below. Not here, below yesterday's low. When it went below yesterday's low, I tweeted to Redler All Access. I'm out at 37.32. That was my stop, and now I will just wait to see when the real volume comes in, so I don't get tied around or just bored of this. So, but it's still within this range, just not much to do. Tesla also has been a little weaker. Typically, Tesla loves higher oil, but for some reason, it's been acting weaker than it has in the past. Ever since this little outside day right here, and when it broke this trend, it hasn't been a stronger stock like it was when it broke this to the upside. You had a doji failure there, and then you had an outside day here. More than enough signals to get out of the way. Now the question is, can this little pivot hold? We shall see. So in closing, some things to do today. If you worked out of some of your shorts, if you've been rolling it up since Friday, maybe you got out of some of it with a little better pricing. If you added more today because you had your first slight red dog reversal, hoping for a little bit more downside tomorrow, we'll see what happens. If you just came in today and traded and made some money using these 5 and 15-minute patterns, awesome also. If you're thinking that this was the first pause day and we're going to go off to the races and you bought a little bit today, you know what, if we go up tomorrow and we gap up, you'll be happy. But if we're down a little bit, you're going to take a little pain versus trying to be perfect. But if you're also trying to be perfect and you don't have enough longs on and we gap up and you think we're going through that resistance, you can't be upset that you didn't have any risk. So with all those situations, you got to figure out where you stand and how you want to live and what makes you comfortable. And it's different for everyone. I'll see you tomorrow morning with Amelia. Have a good night.